Oh, hey, how's it going? What's that? I can't hear you. This is too loud. What are you saying? Oh, yes, I did say that I wasn't going to put any money in this car until I got the title for it. Well, you know, I'm just excited. And besides, I'm waiting on parts for the Impala, and I'm excited about, I don't know. I'm just gonna drain the oil. I'm gonna check the oil. I'm gonna pull the wheels off and see why I have no brakes. Actually, I should probably check the reservoir in the brake master cylinder before I put it up. Make sure there's fluid in it even. Maybe it's just a matter of bleeding them. But chances are, if it doesn't work, they leaked out somewhere. I don't know. Just get off my back about it, okay? You know, sometimes you change your mind because, you know, truth be told, I want to drive it. So, okay, if you promise not to give me a hard time about it, I promise I'll let you take a ride in it with me, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. I'm thinking with that, the previous owner thought that, well, his buddy, who's a mechanic, on the phone told him it sounded like his oil pump was kind of failing. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, how could you know over the phone? But what I kind of would like to do is wire in or plumb in an aftermarket oil pressure gauge, since there's only an idiot light on this thing, so I can watch it, you know, so we don't kill this engine because of what we don't know. So if I can do that, even if I just wired in temporarily, not, you know, a permanent type of gauge, but just so, okay, let's pay attention to when I'm driving it and when it's running. You know, if it's super low, then I can turn it off and maybe put a oil pump on it. I don't know. So that's the plan. All right? You happy? All right, well, let's just kind of do the thing with the thing and the other thing, and then we'll see what kind of other things we're going to do. Perfect. I'm glad you're here. This is going to be a fun week. I don't know why, but why not? Let's just make it a fun week. Oh, perfect. Well, I'm going to check this fluid reservoir. Well, super cool so far. I've gotten a ton accomplished. 4 wheels off and a checked reservoir. But where's my flashlight? There it is. I figured I'd show you before I got too far in here. So if you look down below the master cylinder, can you see that little rust streak? So I'm thinking the master cylinder is leaking. I'm going to go ahead and replace that. Hang on, light. Just stay where you are. So if I take this lid off, let me set it over somewhere away from paint. You can see, you know, it looks clear, but if you look down in there, you see all that rust at the bottom? That's not great. That one doesn't look quite as bad. So I am going to order a master cylinder. I'm going to suck all of the stuff out of this one so as to try not to get any more rusty nastiness in the lines. The brakes actually look really good, and but I think I am going to replace my front brake lines. If we look here on the other side, they don't look terrible, but also they look like they've been on there a long time, and the inner walls on these can collapse with age and prevent the brakes from working. So I'm just going to preempt that. I'll replace the master cylinder, replace the lines there. I'm just got to roll on this chair here. Oh, there we go. The rear brakes, they probably have got, you know, a couple years left in them, or not. I don't see that there's any leaking going on, but I am going to replace this part. My brain is locking down this morning. It will not let me access the information to tell you the name of that part. And you can yell it all you want, but until my brain tells me, whatever. So I'm thinking the rears need new pads. I don't know. What do you think? And of course, they're hard lined in on the back, so there's no, the rubber line would be somewhere up in there. I don't know where, somewhere. I'm not even going to worry about it though. I'm just going to worry about the fronts for now. Hopefully doing all of that will solve the no brake problems. Check this out though. I have never seen this before. I took the wheels off and these were, well, I was going to have them on. These were on, well, over top of the drums like that. Basically a backing so that when you look through these slots here, all you see is black. You don't see rusty brake parts. You know, I've never seen that before. So I don't believe, I might be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that is a factory Buick feature. I think that's an aftermarket, especially judging by all the extra holes in it. You know, for someone who wants to dress up the back a little bit. So you're up to speed, and you know, that's all I got. So I'm gonna jump online, order that stuff, and then I'll keep raising this car up on the lift and drain the oil out of it, see what else we see. So, as you can see, up in the air, the brakes look good. Brake pads are good. I ordered new hoses for the front. You know, ordered new pads for the back, and got it up in the air here to drop the oil. The oil looked pretty black coming out. You know, it's hard to tell when it's just falling, but there was no other fluids in it. It was just black. The plug seemed like it had like just a little silver fleck, or you know, like if you're panning for silver, and yeah, you don't want to be panning for silver, but that's what kind of what it looked like. just a little bit. So I took the filter off and I cut it open, as you can see me doing. It's not really good news. So I don't know how bad the news is, but if you can see, you know, I mean, it's pretty and everything, but it's not good. So, yeah, that's just not good. That's not good either. But I have a rag for that. So anyway, I don't know. You know, what my mind first goes to is, you know, the cam is destroying itself. But maybe not. You know, maybe it's something else. So I'm not going to put oil back in it at this point. I am going to probably drop it back down and take the valve covers off and just see if everything looks good in the valve train, you know, under the covers of the valves, and go from there. We're not going to assume the worst, but that's not good. Something's destroying itself, and we have to figure out what it is before we cause more irreparable harm. If it's not already, well, nothing's really irreparable, irreparable. I mean, everything can be repaired. Well, not everything. Everything can be replaced. We just have to find out if something can be repaired or it needs to be replaced. So, you know, my mind flashes toward pulling the engine and tearing it apart. I don't really want to do that. I would like to repair it with minimal effort. I don't have a ton of money in this car, and I don't want to have a ton of money in this car. I just want to get it working and driving. So, you know, it's not always up to me, but if it were up to me. So I'm going to go ahead with the brake repair. That needs to be done anyway. And continue to dive in to the engine to see if we can pinpoint the problem. I got a little sidetracked there putting the spark plugs in Mr. E. I don't know. I was going through the parts and I saw the plugs. I'm like, well, instead of tape over the holes, I'll just thread the plugs in there. Problem solved. I'm a little bit like that in my shop. If you couldn't tell, like I'll work on something and then maybe I'm waiting on parts, or maybe I just notice something else and I jump over on that, and then it may not seem efficient, but it all needs to be done. So if I'm inspired, I'm going to just jump on it and do it. So, okay, let me keep tearing into this thing and hope for the best. Well, here's the oil pump. Well, this is actually the oil pump cover. Here's the spring that goes inside of it right there. And then, well, let me get my flashlight so we can see something. Roll on my chair here. Oh, okay, yep. Ooh, right in my eyes, okay. Well, I covered it with tape to hold the gears in, but you can kind of see through the tape that star pattern. There's 2 gears in there. One has the shaft attached to it that goes up to the distributor, and the other is just the kind of the idler gear, and that's what pumps oil up, you know, to the top of the motor. So after doing a little research on these 455s, I discovered that this is kind of a normal thing. If the car sits for long periods, or the engine isn't run for long periods, the oil pump loses its prime. And so sometimes it has difficulty getting its prime back, sucking the oil up. In that case, if the engine is started and run and it doesn't get primed up, well, you're essentially running your motor dry. I kind of think that's probably what happened here. So this is my plan. I don't know if this is what happened, but I'm assuming, since I have flex in the oil, and also when I took the oil pump out, I even hate to show this. I'm just kind of sick about it, but really mostly in denial. This little sliver was in it. It was stuck in it. It's definitely metal. So I think there's probably some issues going on in the motor. But hope springs eternal. My plan is to rebuild this pump, pack it. When you put it back together, the trick is to pack it with petroleum jelly so that it will get primed. And I'll actually prime it. I'll take the distributor off with fresh oil in the engine and prime it myself, make sure I have oil coming to the top before I crank it up. And then I'm going to run it, let it idle, listen for noise, whatever, check for smoke, whatever, you know, we'll see. And then turn it off, change the oil again, check the filter again, and then possibly rinse and repeat if either I don't see flex in this new oil or I see fewer, which may just be have washed down or washed in, you know. So I might do it again, not prime the pump again, but basically change the oil again and run it again. See what happens. Maybe the damage isn't as bad as all that. I know I am kidding myself. But what's the harm? I spend a little money on some oil and a couple of filters and see what happens. And I'm not even going to go to the next step after that. That's as far as we're going, and then we'll make a decision after that point. So that's where we're at. Waiting on brake parts, still going to finish that, and waiting on oil pump parts. So once we get that buttoned up and the brakes, we'll get it back on the ground and we'll see what we can see. It'll be exciting. It's not, you know, it's fine. It's just I was hoping for better, but again, I'm still not. I bought the car right. So even if, let's just not go there, okay? It's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. So my master cylinder just showed up. It looks exactly like that one, which is good because it's going in that car. So first thing I'm going to do is paint it. I could just slam it in like this, but over time it'll look rusty. Someone painted that one and the brake lines and the lid, basically anything they could get their hands on under there. Not a fan. Don't paint the lid. It just looks dumb. Don't paint the thing. Don't do that. Take it off. Tape everything good. Paint the body. Be done with it. It will look way better. You know this. I know this. That guy was just lazy. So, yeah. So let me paint this real quick. Get it kind of drying, and then I'll suck all the juices out of that one, carefully loosen the lines and take it out, and I'll try to clean up, you know, kind of that, wherever it's leaking in the back, you know, clean all that off. And I might even, you know, spritz a little paint on the area that the paint melted off of, just to kind of dress it up, you know. And then when this is dry, we'll slap it in there. And hopefully my hoses show up. I'm still waiting on the Think Brain, okay? Access file, accessing file. The the oil pump, you know? I bought a rebuild kit for the oil pump. This pump might be just fine. It might be just the issue that it lost its prime and it didn't suck up the oil and it ruined the motor, allegedly. I don't know yet, probably. But why not? I'll pull those parts out, I'll bag them up, I'll keep them, but we're gonna put new parts in, and just to be sure, that that's not the problem, and then go from there. So let me get out my paint.
She gives me loving like I ain't ever had, and toss me to the curb like a dirty dish rag. Say, boys, is a juice worth the squeeze? She makes me feel like a king, then treats me like a dog the very next morning. Tell me, boys, what you think? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Every time I see her, I tell myself I'm through, but I got this itch, just won't go away. She scratches it like no one else do. She got the goods that make my head spin and turn. Well, I know what I'm playing with, cause I keep getting burned. Oh, tell me, boys, what you think? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Time I see her, I swear things gotta change. But no matter how hard I try, I just can't stay away. And the question, it's always the same. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Is the juice worth the squeeze? When you get what you want, but not what you need. Is the juice worth the squeeze? When you get what you want, but not what you need. Is the juice worth the squeeze?
It is something you have to ask yourself. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Well, I don't know about in your case, but in my case, I think the juice is worth the squeeze. So one of the things I was doing was installing, you see this little copper line here. I took out the pressure sending unit that just, you know, it's an idiot light in the car. I'm going to run a gauge, and I'll just kind of put it up under the dash, kind of inconspicuous, but I feel like, especially for this engine, since these 455s have a tendency to, you know, have pump failures and problems, I just need to see what kind of fuel pressure I'm getting. I can't just rely on the light. It's terminated right there, but I still have yet to do that. The other thing is I've taken this out, you know, this thing, you know, whatever. It does the thing with the sends the shoots, the sparks, and, you know, technical terms. Took it out of there because the other end of it is what attaches or meets up with the shaft on the gear for the oil pump. And I was having trouble pulling that gear out. That gear and shaft should just slide out easily. It was not sliding out easily. So I was kind of tapping it from the top till I got it out to a certain extent. And then I was using a slide hammer to kind of tap it out, but I had to use some, you know, PB blaster and try to free it up. It wasn't good. So this is the shaft that I took out, and you can see on it, you know, rust or corrosion or whatever. That shouldn't be. Like, this should be spinning freely in there with no, yeah, it shouldn't be that way. So I kind of goobered up the gears trying to get it out, but it doesn't matter because I'm replacing all of that. You can see I kind of cleaned the inside of this. I'm replacing this whole housing, but I'm going to hold on to this one because honestly, it doesn't look that bad. You can see a little bit of scoring from the from the gears, you know, because they rest right up against it while they spin, you know. And you can even see that scoring right there. So inside the fuel pump, let's just crawl around under there just for the fun of it, because that's what we do for fun around here. So if you look up in there, do you see how, see those grooves in the side of the aluminum housing where those gears go? I can snag them with my fingernail, and even up inside that shaft, you're not going to be able to see it, but there are a couple of grooves up in there as well. I'm not going to replace that housing. I mean, it's a big job. And also, if I have to pull the motor, I can maybe address that at that point. But, oh, excuse me. Hang on, go look at Mr. E there. A minute. Is he great? All right. Okay. Anyway, I just was doing something. So this is what I think. I bought a couple of flex hone tools that are just the right diameter for that small shaft, which is essentially, you know, what this slides into. I'm going to gently hone that out to try to get rid of those little ridges. And then I bought one a little bit bigger than this gear and I'm gonna just gently try to hone out both of those, gear areas. Try to smooth out the sides without taking off too much material, because I need oil pressure. If you've got too big of gaps, you got no oil pressure. So I'm gonna see if that works. So I'm waiting for that stuff to come in. And yeah, that's my holdup. At this point, I think my brakes are good. I'm just waiting on that. I have a sinking feeling that this motor's coming out of the car. So, oh yeah. And I also went to the DMV and got plates and registration for the car. So if it does run, I'm good to go. I'll either get a title back. They took all of my 5 reams of paperwork that I had to fill out for not having a title. I'll either get a title back, which could happen because of the age of the car. For Dusty back there, I didn't have a title for him either. I filled out all the paperwork, got a title back. So, but I mean, he's a 36, so. Or I'll get a request from the state for surety bond, which I can get from my insurance company, send that back to them, and then I'll get a title. It'll be a bonded title. So I'm not worried about the previous owners coming back for the car, because I have notarized bills of sale that trace back. So I know the owner that actually holds the title, that sold it to the guy that I bought it from. And I did some calling around, and his name is on that title, and it's titled in the state that he lives in. So, and I have the affidavit where he states he's sold the car. So I'm not worried about any legalities. It's just my issue with the title. But this car needs to have a title. It needs to be able to be driven, be on the road, not have any more problems in its life that are not its fault. So we'll see. We'll see where this adventure takes us. Hopefully it takes us down the road sooner than later. But if perhaps the motor needs to be pulled, we'll do that, and then we'll get it on the road. So we'll try not to delay too much. So, okay, well, I guess, what am I going to do next? I guess we'll find out. Maybe I'm going to finish my coffee. If that's what it is. Okay, I think I was just 180 degrees out. I haven't checked actually whether it's getting spark. I'd rather kind of fuss around, and not do that. Even though it's super easy. Let's just see if it starts, we know we have oil pressure. I believe I've got it timed properly, at least, you know, initial. It's the battery again, you know. Always forgetting the battery. It is a good idea, though, I will say. You know, I'm going to just pat myself on the back here, if I could reach, but I can't. I can't even scratch myself on the back, which is really unfortunate. I have to lean up against a cabinet or something. But if I could pat myself, I would pat myself for unplugging that, because you don't want the engine doing engine things when you got your hands in there. So anyway, let's give it a try. So let's open up the oil filter and see what we can see. How about that? That's a little, all those little sparklies. It's, you know, I don't know, just between you and me, maybe I should get a second opinion, but that's some sparkly oil. So what that tells me is I did even more damage when I ran it. So we're not going to run it anymore. We're going to pull the engine, I guess. That is the choice that we have. Oh, I need to start putting some stuff away. I don't know where anything is. I've been kind of on a thrash with Ella here. Oh, that's where I put that. Yeah. Wow. I even found my glasses. I mean, it's probably why I couldn't find, you know, my tools, because I couldn't find my glasses. My glasses were right here. I don't know if you ever run into that in your garage, where you're just trying to get the thing to the point to where you can find out what you need to find out, or fix it, and you've just got tools and nonsense and rags and everything everywhere. And it's a whole nother job to clean it up. But, you know, you do it, or you don't, depending on who you are. My best friend, his mind it doesn't work the same way mine does. And, you know, he's got stuff everywhere, but he knows where it is. So, or most of it, unless, you know, one of his kids uses a tool or whatever. And he's got a lot of balls in the air with projects, and it's always fun to exchange notes with him. But yeah, if I go work in his shop, it's just, you know, not the same. So all that to say, you know, don't tell him I said it doesn't. You could go ahead, tell him I said that, because it doesn't really matter. He knows. He's just got a lot going on, and I got a lot going on, but I can't think if I have this going on for too long. So I got sidetracked. We're going to call this quits on this episode. Cheers, by the way. Sometimes you have to, you know, not drown your sorrows, but celebrate what's to come. I'm heartbroken that the engine actually is eating itself like I kind of thought it was, because I want to drive this car, but that's not going to happen right now. So what is going to happen is this pulling the engine and taking it apart. That'll be another episode. It won't be next week. I've got work to do on the 69 Chevelle, Mr. E, and I've got to finish whenever my window run channels come in. I got to finish up that project. It's not going to take me very long. So, and then after that, well, it may be a few weeks, couple weeks, whatever, but our old friend Black Mustang with no name is coming back, because after it ran on the dyno, it was starving for fuel, so it needs a bigger fuel pump. We're going to put bigger injectors in it, put a bypass in the supercharger, and bypass valve, and then I think that's all. And then he's going to take it back, and they're going to run it again. So, yeah, we'll get to do all that. We're not forgetting about Ella. She's, this summer, we'll get this all figured out, but it just won't happen right away. So I am thrilled that you would hang out with me in my shop here, and it makes the days go faster, you know, having a little company, and yeah, someone to share your joys and sorrows with. And, you know, a beverage. So, see you guys next week.